Good morning, folks. I've gone live a wee bit early to address a few of the comments this morning. We've got John saying that the SNP have sent him a letter asking for money. I have received one as well, John. And you're saying you're not getting it unless independence is in the manifesto. Well, it'll be line 1, page 1 of the manifesto. So I hope that helps. DJ, you're telling us that the SNP are in decline? Well, that'll be independence off the fucking table then, won't it? And I'll have spent the last 25 years of my life wasting my fucking time. The SNP are only in decline if you turn your back on them. If you want independence, there's only one way to get it. Bye, Charlie Kirk. And that is to vote SNP. None of the other parties are going to get you there. None of them are big enough, and none of them have it as an explicit a promise on line 1 of their manifesto, as far as I'm aware. As we'll be aware, the Green Party put the environment above independence. The Alpha Party are a non-existent fucking waste of space, who are too busy fighting each other to actually come together and maybe put a challenge towards the SNP. But splitting the vote was never a good idea anyway, as we have witnessed since the 2011 vote. And the longer that this movement sits idly without a campaign, the more splits we get in it. But if the SNP are in decline, then we've wasted our fucking time. End of story. And if they're in decline, it's because you've turned your back. There is only one party that's big enough to put enough pressure on Westminster. And as for the point of Section 30 order, it just happens to be the constitutional arrangement we're stuck in, thanks to the 1998 Scotland Act. And of course, Alec and Nicola signing the Edinburgh Agreement. Now, as you all know, I disagreed with Alex and Nicola signing the Edinburgh Agreement. They should have told Westminster to fuck off. It was the inalienable right of the people of Scotland to decide their future. They don't need Westminster's permission. But because a precedence has been set, we are where we are. But if you want to turn your back on the SNP, then you're turning your back on independence. It's as simple as that. It's a fact. The Greens, for the Greens, independence is a convenience, but they're happy to plug away without it. And the Alpha Party just haven't got their act together. We're never going to get their act together. It was put together by a bunch of activists that didn't like each fucking other. So it was never going to be a success, the Alpha Party. So that's why I've come a wee bit early this morning. I come in 2 minutes early to address these comments. Either we put our shoulder to the wheel and shove hard and push the SNP in the direction we want to go in, or we give up because there's nothing else there. Now let's see who's in this morning. Good morning, Reagan a Week. Folks, Reagan a Week goes live right after this programme. That was one of the other reasons why I come in a wee bit early to say these things, because I don't want to eat into his time. We did try to respect each other's broadcasting time, but we better not. Right. So that's it. That's the first thing I had to say this morning, right? Now we'll get back on track. David and I will talk a wee bit more about that this afternoon, probably. Now, it's Indy Truck Davy out the truck and at home in his office in Salisbury, North Lanarkshire, where it is clearing up at this point in time. A wee bit overcast. It's 16 degrees. There is rain in the forecast, so if you're in North Lanarkshire and you're out about today, take a brolly. Now, humidity is at 88%. That one's for Mr. Milligan. And the air quality is good. And pollen count is low, meaning allergen is grass. There you go. That's the weather here in Salisbury, North Lanarkshire. If you want to know what the weather's like with you, look at your rain bloody Monday. Alright. Right, first up this morning, we've got the free rag. Now, this free rag, the Metro, has got huge influence, by the way, folks, because it's available in public transport for nothing. So it gets into the hands of an awful lot of people, so it has a lot of influence. Anyway, what's the Metro got for us this morning? The Metro has bitter clash after Farage's defection. Reform MSP bullying row. Graham Simpson walks the floor from the Conservatives to join the Form, and it looks like he jumped before he was pushed, because the allegations are that he was bullying a young staffer at the Conservative Party. So there might be an ulterior motive for this guy walking the floor. He was apparently under investigation for bullying a young female staffer. Right, there you go. Anyway, it's no good for Finlay Russell, is it? 3 quit since he became leader. You get Jamie Green, who walked the flight to the Lib Dems. You've got Jeremy Balfour, who's sitting as an independent until the next election when he's going to stand down. I think he's going to stand down. I don't know, he might stand as an independent. And of course, we've just had Graham Simpson defected the Form. So the Tories are a bit done in Scotland, to be honest with you. But we really don't want reform taking their place. But we'll get a wee bit more at as we get into it. Right, and I forgot to put the rag up, so I'll give you a quick glance at the front page. And I also forgot to put the star up yesterday, so I apologise, folks. But you didn't miss nothing. I can assure you didn't. Yeah. And here we go. This is what the Metro looks like this morning. Better clash after Farage's defection. Okay, we'll take that down. Put that up. Take it down. Now, see, it would appear that the Tories are finished in Scotland. Next up, we've got the Scotsman. Let's get it up before I forget what I'm doing. The Scotsman has. Farage, Tories face wipeout in Scotland. We can live in hope. Pressure mounts on Finlay as MSP is first defection to the Form. As I say, there's a story behind that. Apparently he was under investigation for bullying a staffer, and there was every chance he was going to get suspended and thrown out of the party anyway. Right, so let's get rid of the Scotsman. I'm afraid there's a lot of Farage in the rags today. And after the Scotsman, with the Rancid, and you know I don't put the Rancid up, folks. So the Rancid has Farage flops in Scotland. And it's got a picture on the front here of Farage and Graham Simpson. And what it says is, one is a pathetic, nasty little man who will not be missed, and the other is Nigel Farage. Nigel's new pal. Reform leaders' big day wrecked as defector accused of bullying women. So as I say, Graham Simpson was under investigation, it appears, for bullying a staffer at Conservative office. And that might be the motive behind him jumping. The other motive might be, as it's pointed out in the Scotsman, that the Tories face being wiped out here in Scotland. Maybe he's defected to the Form to try and stay in a job. Right, let's move on. The only right-wing rag the Express has. Farage, reform in Scotland to get rid of the SNP. You never had as much shite in all your life. Has Nigel not seen the polls? We're 17 points in front of that fucking spanner. And 20 points in front of Labour. I think we're the best part of 20 plus points in front of the Tories at this point in time, who are lagging, who are side by side with the Lib Dems at this point in time. And the Greens seem to be a waning force here in Scotland. But unless you're following the polls, you won't know these things. Farage, he's too full of himself to think otherwise that he could beat the SNP here in Scotland. There was so much shite in all your life. But we are going to get a lot of this in the press, because the establishment, the state, would rather have a right-wing lunatic than a Scottish left-wing party angling for independence. So, and Desiree, you're right, I'll put that up. Well, all the unionist vultures want the SNP gone by hook or by crook. Well, we've seen that in the papers a couple of days ago when the failing Tory leader, Russell Finlay, was asking for the game to be rigged because he knew he couldn't win. But as I say, folks, we'll get a wee bit more the imperative there is on sticking with the SNP. For a start, if any of these unionists get in, say goodbye to your free prescriptions, your bus pass at 60, your free university tuition fee, your free dental for the under 25s, free travel for the 12 to 23-year-olds, the baby box, free women's sanitary products in public buildings. That will all go if the unionists get in. The 6-band tax system will go. As Sarwar has stated, he wants to realign us with the rest of the UK. And that means all the extra benefits that comes with the extra taxation that we rise will disappear. Okay. Right, that was the Lonely Rag the Express. Next up, we have the Times. What nonsense has the Times got for us this morning? Well, better take the Lonely Rag down. Right, the Times. The Times has. Tories face wipeout at Holyrood, says Farage. Farage will have absolutely no fucking say in what happens in Holyrood, even if he does manage to get a couple of MSPs on the list. But Farage will have absolutely no say whatsoever in what happens in Holyrood. That's the people that will have the say. It'll be the people who decide whether the Tories are wiped out. No Farage. Farage is only one man, one vote, and he doesn't get to fucking give it here in Scotland. He's no a Scotsman. Or he's no a citizen of Scotland. And I was watching Young Greg and Elite's programme, they were talking about sovereignty. And I typed in subjects, looking for sovereignty, down with the crown. And I think it went over most of his audience's head. The subject refers to the people. The people in England are not citizens. They need to get their head wrapped around this. They are not sovereign. They are not citizens. They are subject of a monarchy. They're subjects. They're not citizens. And until the English people get their head wrapped around that fact, then the monarchy will stay. What the English people need to get their head wrapped around is that they are not citizens and they have no rights as such, except for those that are granted by the crown, because they're subjects. They're not citizens. They live in a monarchy. Things are a wee bit different here in Scotland because of the Declaration of Growth and the transfer of the power from the monarchy to the people. But in England, if you think you're a citizen, you're fucking wrong. You're a subject. Get your head wrapped around that. Alright? Don't ever refer to yourselves as citizens in England, because you are not citizens, you are subject. You are subject to a monarchy. You don't have rights as citizens as such. You did have rights as citizens when you were in the EU because you were an EU citizen. But in England, you're a subject. You're not a citizen. You're subject to the crown. Get your head wrapped around that. Don't refer to yourselves as citizens because you don't qualify. Now let's take down the Times, and that's nonsense. And I hope that clears up your constitutional situation in England for you to understand. Because until you get your head wrapped around the fact that you have no rights as such, except for what's granted by the crown, you're banging your head off a brick wall. Right, after the Times, we have the Nazi-loving right-wing rag, the Daily Fail, and it has a fair bit of bollocks and truth mixed in one, actually. But we'll explain that to you. Miliband promised to cut them by 300. Instead, they're going up even more than expected as regulator admits, wind farms hike your energy bills. No, they fucking don't. Wind farms are cheap, easy to erect, can be put up quickly, and can be producing electricity cleanly and freely, very, very quickly. The reason why it's putting money on your electricity bills is because the people who profit from these turbines don't want to pay for them. They want you to pay for them. And the other reason why your electricity bills are so high is because we have a government that refuses to regulate. Electricity prices in this country should be about £1,000 a year. Electricity prices in England should be about £1,200 a year. The reason they're not, because the big six and the middlemen who are gouging us have lobbyists who are slipping money to the government so that they won't regulate. And as we know, the Labour Party has now ditched its traditional funding model in favour of lobbyists and big businesses bunging them, like the Tories. Wonderful. But get this through your heads, folks, especially people south of the border. Wind turbines are cheap. They go up quick. And I should know, I was involved in the construction of quite a few wind farms. I used to drive a cement mixer. And they big towers, they need big heavy foot and anchors. A lot of concrete goes into holding these things and stop them from blowing up. But believe me, they're cheap and they're easy to throw together and they're quick to erect. This idea that putting up wind farms is costing a lot of money is a lot of bollocks. So there is a wee bit of truth in it. The electric bills are going up. But that's because the government refuses to regulate, folks. On, just for example, to prove my point, England, look north. Look over this border. There's wind farms everywhere. You know why? Because they're quick and they're easy to erect and the energy is quick to harvest and it's free. It's produced for next to nothing once the turbine's up. Alright. Although I've heard all sorts of mad theories about them being, when there's no wind, or using diesel to turn them and things like that. Oh, nonsense. The biggest problem with wind power is storage of energy. There's a few ways to do it. There is a few ways to do it. You get battery storage, and then of course you get kinetic storage. So there is a few ways of doing it, but wind farms don't hike your bills at all. That's the energy company wanting you to pay for the fact that they're putting these things up. Alright. Let's move on. The next rag has got another explanation for why our bills are so high and going to get higher. Alright, so let's put up the eye and see what it's got for us this morning. This morning the eye has... Oh, wrong fucking button, dude. New Brexit energy tax set to hit UK on 1st of January and blow to Reeves trade hopes. Now what's this is about? Well, it's a carbon tax that's been introduced in January and it will apply to UK businesses that trade into the EU, making trade with the EU more expensive again. It's already become more expensive because of Brexit. Well, now it's going to get more expensive because of a carbon tax. Alright. So our bills are going to go up again because of carbon tax. Let's get that done. Next up, we have the Herald. Let's see what the Herald's got for us today. No doubt the Herald will be steering well clear of anything of importance. Trading Standards officers warned service in jeopardy. Well, I suppose that is important. Because the long and short of it is that because of cuts from central governments, that's Westminster to Holyrood, Holyrood to councils, then trading standards offices have been cut by half since 2022, and the amount of staff in the Trade and Standards offices have also been cut by half since 2022. Well, it goes, I'm afraid. And this is how we talk about decline in public services. Obviously, they take out the ones that are no as important in the minds of the councils first, like Trade and Standards. Right, let's take that down. Get rid of it. Next up, we have the scum, and I don't put the scum up, folks. And the scum goes on. Prisoner swap outrage. Keep killer Ringo out of UK. Sorry, keep jihadi Ringo out of UK. Now, it's a jailed member of a gang nicknamed the Beatles, once transferred to the UK for an American jail. He's run away to America after his mob had murdered a couple of people here in the UK, apparently. I didn't get deep into the story. It's a crime story. It's not my bag. Alright, next up we get the Telegraph, so let's get it up. What nonsense has the red and blue Tory graph got for us today? Weight loss jab pulled ahead of price surge. Now, apparently, Wes Streeton and his much flaunted get the jab, get fit, get back to work is out the window as the price reaches 320 quid a jab. But when you do the maths, 320 quid, if they go to keep taking this jab to stay slim, is it no a medical jab and all of a sudden you're all rippled, no slim? Because if they go to keep taking it, then it might not be cost efficient. But you reckon if it's once a year at 320 quid, then surely it's economically viable if it's getting people back into work. But this miracle jab, which was being offered by Wes Streeton to help the overweight lose weight and get back into the workforce, it would appear it's being withdrawn. So, make vaccines great again. Stephen, sometimes, sir, sometimes. Right, so there you go, folks. The weight loss jab is being pulled because it's going to be charged. They're going to charge 320 quid. The pharmaceutical companies are going to charge per shot. Right, let's get rid of that. Next up, the National. What's the National go for us this morning? Well, that ain't it. There we go. The National. Labour blasted for tinkering on human rights laws. And apparently in the background, Labour have been looking at curbing human rights without leaving the ECHR. Which is interesting, because this Labour government is probably the most authoritarian government we've had, which is saying something after having Sunak, the Cabbage, Bojo, and of course May. So it is it's quite a thing to see that the party of the people is now the hammerer of the people and the handle of the riches. These Muppets took over the People's Party and transformed it into a party that works against the people. Which it has. It is no longer. Well, it used to be the People's Party, then it was the Workers' Party, and now it's the Boss's Party. They've made it quite fucking clear of that. And that's why Mr. Corbyn and Miss Sultana thought, well, we better give the people a party back. And they're shiting themselves down that road. Let's give the weight loss jab. I'll tell you the fitness and wellbeing facilities. I don't know if that's a good idea. Glasgow kiss. Right, so apparently this authoritarian right-wing government have been tinkering with our human rights in the background. Alright, let's take that down. And we know that because of the way they've clamped down on protest. Use Kofi as a test subject for the fat jagger, Sir Larry. I wouldn't have said fat jabber, I've had to say overweight. I've been overweight myself, so I know what it's like. Take the National, didn't. After the National, we have the Guardian. So let's see what the Guardian's got for us this morning. Well, that's telling us something we already know. But it's an uncomfortable truth. 1/3 of wounded in Gaza are children. We know that anyway, but it's an uncomfortable truth. And there's no enough of these uncomfortable truths being printed in the press. So I was watching a young Major General on a clip on YouTube who had already left the military. But what he had said was that if he was still in the military, he would have resigned over the UK government's complicity in genocide. And let's not kid ourselves on here, folks. Lammy, Cooper, Starmer, the whole bench, including Ian Murray, the Governor General of Scotland, need to be fucking locked up and held accountable for the breaches of international law and for the complicity in a genocide. There is no doubt about that. And it makes me angry, folks. It makes me really angry. But hey, a lot of things make me angry. What else we got there? Chat GTP encouraged boy suicide, family says. So apparently this boy was talking to Chat GTP and it encouraged him to talk himself, allegedly. And fertility rates at record low after falling again. There's the argument for immigration right there and inward migration there. We have an Asian population and we have a falling level of fertility. But sometimes I think that's deliberate. A day. Pamela Nash needs to lose 10 stone. I've not seen her in a while, Stephen. But the few times I have had dealings with Pamela Nash, she was a thoroughly disgusting human being. I went to her constituency office when she was the MP here to get a situation resolved and was treated like I was the shite on her shoe. And this was well before the referendum was even an idea in anybody's eyes. She had no idea what my political affiliations were. She just had this thing about her that everybody else was beneath her. A thoroughly disgusting creature. Hey, Hootsman. Right. That's them all. With the exception of the Star. 13 headlines today, folks, that we've looked at. I say I don't want to run into Reagan a week's time. And that's why I came on a wee bit early. I say, but folks, if the SNP are in decline, then I'm afraid independence is off the table. Right, I forgot to put the Star up yesterday because I was going on a bit. So I better put it up today. With Melanie having kittens. And she was yesterday saying, you forgot something. Thanks very much for reminding me, Mel. Our intrepid duck reporter. Okay. Let's get the Star up and see what it's got for us. The Star has Trump's swifty change of heart. I stoke out hate, insert love, Taylor. Really? I wouldn't even think that Taylor Swift was on Trump's fucking radar. I mean, Trump's a senile old man, for fuck's sake. Taylor Swift's a young woman. Saying that right enough, he's an old man. Senile old man with a thing for kids, apparently. Apparently he's a kiddie fiddler and was the best pal of Jeffrey Epstein, who was supplying the kiddie fiddler with kids. But as I say, that typical Daily Star headline or Sun headline. Same thing, really. Just entertainment rags these days, aren't they? Right, that's it for this morning, folks. I say I don't want to jump into Reagan Elite's time. There's a link to Reagan Elite's programme right after this programme in the comments. Viper Scott 1, better known to us as Alistair M. Kerr. Oh, by the way, happy birthday for yesterday, Alistair. Better known to us as Alistair M. Kerr has put the link into the chat, folks. Now, I'll be listening to Reagan Elite's programme because I'm going to be out and about, folks. I've got some admin to do, and I'm also going down to make the first payment to the food banks in the Borders for this month. I'm waiting on two more getting back to me, but I'm going into town anyway, so Dunn's fair share will be getting 250 sent to them this morning. Okay. And as I say, I've got some other things that I need to go on with when I'm out and about. Now, David and I will be back at 4 o'clock this afternoon. As I say, there'll be no doubt we'll have a few things to discuss, but one of the things I'm sure David and I will want to discuss is the idea that some people think the SNP is in decline, because if we're insiders are no willing to vote for the SNP, then we're fucked. So we'll see you all this afternoon. Okay. Look after yourselves till then. Don't be late. I've only got an hour of work, so don't be late. You'll be on the naughty step. Bye for now.